And Gloria ma'am, hairstyle so beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, I hope
Ma'am.
are we all ready?
Rania
Yes,
Rania
yes.
ma'am,
Yeah.
your class, wow.
Yes, we are ready.
Okay. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on your time zone. What a joy and privilege it is to welcome you all to this special edition of a Walkthrough Education Intellectual Exchange. I am deeply honored to have such a distinguished gathering of minds and hearts dedicated to shaping the future of education. First, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to each of our speakers, exceptional educators, ambassadors, researchers, and advocates who, despite their full calendars and numerous responsibilities, have graciously made time to be here with us today. Your presence is not only a gift to us, but also a powerful statement of your commitment to purposeful education. To our audience, fellow educators, lifelong learners, change makers, I see you all. I celebrate your curiosity, your passion, and your willingness to pause your schedules for the conversation that matters deeply. Thank you all for showing up. Today's theme is one that challenges us at our core as educators: project-based learning, preparing students for real-world challenges. In a world that is rapidly evolving, where knowledge alone is not enough, we must ask ourselves those questions. Are we preparing students to navigate life's complexities with confidence? Are we empowering them to think critically, solve problems, collaborate, and lead with empathy? Project-based learning is more than a pedagogical approach. It's a paradigm shift. It says to the learner, you are capable. Your voice matters. Your learning must be relevant. Throughout this session, we would explore powerful strategies, stories, and experiences from across continents. Let us listen deeply, reflect boldly, and commit to action. On that note, it's my pleasure to welcome our very first speaker, Dr. Rania Lampo, a global educator, STEM instructor, and trainer, and international keynote speaker from Greece. She will be speaking on the topic STEM integration in project-based learning, a catalyst for global competence and scientific literacy. She will bring us insights into how STEM-based projects can nurture the problem solvers our world desperately needs. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rania. The floor is yours, Dr. Rania. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Happy Easter to everyone.
Happy Easter once again.
I'm very happy. I hope that we have all relaxed, so we are full ready for new sessions now. I fully recovered also, me too. I have a terrible flu now I'm recovering. So yes, actually, STEM and project-based learning, it's my area, my expertise. What I could say that when we talk about STEM is always related with the need for future-ready learners. Learners who can cope with rapid technological advancement, with global interconnectivity, with complex social challenges. And on the other hand, project-based learning is not just a teaching strategy. It's a transformative approach that equips students with the mindset, adaptability, flexibility needed to thrive in the 21st century. And STEM education is this combining teaching of two more cognitive disciplines. So this includes, integrates the core disciplines of science, technology, engineering, mathematics. If we add A, also have STEAM. Project-based learning, on the other hand, has emerged as a dynamic pedagogical strategy that promotes active learning through real-world inquiry-driven projects. Inquiry is the key word we will talk about STEM. So you can understand how closely they're related these two teaching approaches are. By merging science, technology, and mathematics within authentic real-world projects, STEM integrated PBL activities, cultivate critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and resilience, because this way we can empower students to become active problem solvers, innovative thinkers, and ethical global citizens. And this model of learning bridges the gap between classroom knowledge and practical application, helping students to see the relevance of their education. Students, they need to know why they learn specific things, why this is relevant, will be useful to their life later. Otherwise, information which is not relevant will be deleted from the memory. So now we call for a global educational shift, which is really happening, a shift from passive content absorption to active inquiry-driven discovery. Priority now is interdisciplinarity, hands-on activities, experiential learning, and connected to real issues facing our communities and our planet. So this means curricular embracing curiosity, promoting innovation, and fostering lifelong love for learning. I want to say, for example, I don't know if I mentioned this example, I also I conducted a workshop on climate change in a remote island, Greece, and I have students of primary education. I have students of 7 to 12 years old. So during this climate workshop, it was we were experimenting on climate change, and I asked the students to give me some solutions. What they would do if they have the necessary technology, if they have a STEM technology, in order to face some environmental challenges of our planet. Believe me that in 5 minutes, they gave me 30 answers and 30 innovative answers. We talk about primary school students. I don't think that even adults could think things like that. So as far as I remember, they have told me that I would create a robot that could clean up the seas of the oceans, could prevent wildfires, which are very dangerous in Greece. We have created smart cities through the Internet of Things, things like that. No, it's amazing how students have at this age innovative mindset in comparison to what is happening with adults. So in primary school student, STEM education gives us the possibility to work on projects on collaboration and promote innovation, innovative thinking, because we don't give the solution. Students should give the solution. We give them the problem and should find a solution. How? By inventing a pattern, by inventing a device, by inventing a market, by giving ideas. What we need from young people is to give us ideas about how we can tackle social challenges, because obviously adults and governments have failed. So we need the young people on this. And if we talk about the higher level education, it's an amazing opportunity for universities to organize hackathons. It's also very common here in Greece, to invite students to give their solutions, to present their patterns, to give innovative ideas, which are leveraged, exploited, valorized, we could say, by industries. In Greece, we have recently, with the last legal reform, we have for the first time industrial PhDs, doctorates, for the first time. What is industrial PhD? Is that if a researcher has an innovative idea, he can apply his patent or this idea in collaboration with, and if the industry finds this idea innovative, if the industry is interested, then the industry will fund the whole program of the PhD. And not only they fund, they expand this innovation into a product. So you can understand how important it is for young people of 20 or 20, 21, 22, we're talking about this age, to get in contact with the world of industries and how it's important for them to showcase their talent and innovative mindset, which become fruitful products. So this is very, very important. And this is, I think, the superiority of STEM education in comparison to other disciplines. So the disciplinarity, it's about critical thinking, problem solving. We always try to solve a problem. We talk about STEM. So this includes how to analyze problems, how to design solutions, how to develop prototypes, synthesize, all these things, all these higher order thinking processes, and real world application, because projects rooted in real world issues make learning always more meaningful and relevant. If we talk about global competency at the same time, through STEM and PBL, why? Because global competence has to do with different scientific and cultural perspectives. So we learn here to communicate and findings and ideas to global audience and try to develop empathy among students by understanding the lived experience of others. For instance, I could say an example, a project on designing water purification systems can motivate students to investigate the water crisis in various countries, to understand technological and cultural context at the same time, and propose valuable solutions tailored to different communities. So you can understand that these case studies, how students can redesign their cities using principles of sustainability, how they can incorporate urban planning, how they can imagine the future cities. And all these, for example, environmental projects that are already being implemented in schools. And now, if I can talk from my experience, I'm involved in a space program, which is organized by Space Kids India. We try to promote, we try to involve girls in STEM. 12 million girls from 108 countries will be involved in this project. The Greek team also is ready. And one girl from 108 countries will go to India and will get technical training. So we talk about 100 girls will get the technical training on how they can create nano satellites, CubeSats. And this it's a unique mission because the program is called Mission Shakti-Sat. It is unique. Why? Because we talk about a real mission which will take place in within the framework of Chandrayaan-4. We already know, especially here the Indians, already know the huge success of the Chandrayaan-3. And not only this, that women leaders were behind Chandrayaan-3, and these women leaders were, applauded from all the audience all around the world, worldwide. And so now, through this project, we try to motivate especially girls through project-based learning and through STEM in order to prepare them, of course, to motivate them for future careers, for example, aerospace engineers. After they finish this course, we can say that they prepare them to become aerospace engineers. It's a tough course. And I will be in India also for this project. I hope to meet you in person in January 2026. So what I want to say is that STEM in one world is real world challenges, real world problems, is authentic tasks, innovation, problem solving, these things that you need to have in mind if we talk about STEM and PBL. Of course, there are always challenges. There is a lack of resource, the teacher preparation, educators need professional development, especially we talk about robotics or coding. We talk about different kinds of assessment, how we will evaluate collaboration or cooperation. Projects must be accessible and meaningful to students from diverse backgrounds, learning needs. Space Kids India, this organization, which is partner of ISRO, the India Space Research Organization, already the last years organized such programs with satellites and rockets with with Indians from rural areas, poor areas of India. So it's not accidental. That's why we need that this project should be inclusive, especially addressed to underprivileged children. And to maximize the impact of STEM PBL, we need, of course, a curriculum development, so embed this into the curriculum, more professional development, more flexible assessment methods. So by concluding, what to say? That the integration of STEM within project-based learning presents a powerful opportunity to transform education, because if we engage students in real-world challenges that require disciplinary and global understanding, like I mentioned before, the space program, and tomorrow we have a meeting with all students of 108 countries, then STEM PBL can cultivate scientific literacy and global competence. And this approach always offers a path forward, which is both rigorous and responsive to global needs. Thank you very much. Hope I didn't abuse the time.
No,
But
not
I
at
want to share
all.
with you this space program. Yes. And the STEM is the future of education. This is what I want to say.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Rania, for such a powerful insight on this particular topic. It's amazing the kind of job you're doing with the students across the globe through STEM. You've shown us how integrating STEM with purpose can unlock the potential of our learners to think critically, act globally, and also create solutions that matters. So if we give our children the room, they can do what we never thought they can. Thank you very much for this wonderful insight. Thank
Yes.
you.
I want just to add that in the Greek team and in other also things in other countries, we have students, many students of 14 and 15 years old, who are very, very enthusiastic. I mean, not afraid. We talk about difficult problem of 1 hour, 120 hours technical training, which is very tough, a difficult program, but they're very, so enthusiastic, and this is very optimistic.
Wow.
Very optimistic.
Yes,
we talk about
hope...
girls. Well, girls are not friendly with the world of science. We know what still there are so many long-lasting biases and gender stereotypes. However, I can see how enthusiastic these girls are from various countries, because I participated in the meetings of many countries. It was the same thing.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope
So
Nigeria
let's
will
see the
also be part
results.
of it.
Yes. After some months, I will share the results and what is happening. Okay.
Wow. Amazing. It's a great job you're doing. Keep it up. All right. So I think we'll have to come back to this, because it's really an amazing project that we all want to learn more about. Okay, so if anyone has any question, or you have something to say concerning this, please feel free to do so when all the speakers must have presented. Okay, so thank you once again, Dr. Rania. So I'm going to quickly call on our next speaker. She's going to be speaking on teacher as facilitator, transforming pedagogy for effective project-based learning. So please welcome Dr. Gloria Okpara, a leading voice in teacher training and pedagogical innovation. Her topic explores how the role of teachers must evolve into facilitators and guides in the project-based learning environment. Over to you, Dr. Gloria Okpara.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good morning, area. Namaste, India. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear
Hi.
you. Hello.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Just like Dr. Gloria has said, my topic is teacher as a facilitator. Who is a facilitator? A guide to the learners, not just the normal teaching methods. Teaching, you do all the talking, everything, you just guide them. A good example of this facilitator is our own Dr. Gloria. For every presentation, she will just introduce and let the speakers take the lead. After which she summarizes and we all go home happy and better than we came, because learning will be better. I want to bring this topic to the points as part of the topic given me. Preparing students for more challenges. I teach ICT, computer studies, and data processing. For ICT, because of IGCSE, that's Cambridge foreign exams, we have some practical topics like data manipulation, web authoring. They make the learners do it themselves, because the exam day, it is what you can do that will be assessed. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes, yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. So, hello?
Yeah.
So when you have learners asking you questions, I eventually convert those questions to projects for them to go and carry out. I'll first of all evaluate, check the learning points of the learner. You hear them maybe, oh, how do I create query before I make my report? You've already taught them as a teacher that you cannot have your report without preparing a query. And the learner keeps asking until you now make it a project-based learning. Oh, so learner A, you have to do 2007 paper 2. That's your project. And at the end, because you have made that learner to be involved as a project concerning that topic that the learner is having challenge with, the person goes home, takes it as something that he or she must deliver. And at the end, the learner turns out to be very much better than you can ever imagine. So just like we know, there are some learning strategies.
No.
That we have. By the time we have the learning styles, we have different forms of learners in our classroom who are visually inclined. When the project will be presented in class, and they learn faster than when they just hear about the learning methods applied. Some are reading and writing learning style. No matter what you're saying, until they write down something, they will not be able to express themselves. So whichever method the child believes in, hands-on, the kinesthetic learners, lead them to practice practicals themselves. By the time you think it's more like a play method means in the classroom, but eventually aim is what? The learner's understanding of such subject or topic in question. So this project-based learning can be form. It could be a topic, it could be a full paper. It goes to where the learners final exams. They had questions asking. Some come from data processing. What is data modeling? I still don't understand. I had to distribute those topics back to them and call it projects. Okay, now this project is for 10 marks. This, so depending on the topic, you don't weigh the same thing. Oh, some for 5 marks. And one of the learners, after performing that so difficult topic to him, after working on it as a project, came back with an acronym that I, the teacher, learned from him. So this project-based learning, just like Dr. said, is not a one-off thing. We just have to apply it, especially when we are there to facilitate. You are not the one making them understand it your own way. You are just a facilitator. Do it this way and watch out. Oh, they've tried this method, it doesn't work out. You apply another method. Like Dr. So the C's in our learning profession. What are those things? When you leave them to practice this project-based learning, you find out that they apply the critical thinking more than we can imagine. They collaborate amongst themselves. Oh, how do you do this? Oh, we do. It gets to a point in my class, I make a learner go to the board, take charge of the class, explain your own procedure. Another learner is raising hand. I think this same method can be done this way. Oh, have you tried it before? I tried it while she was doing this. You see, the collaboration will aid the understanding in the classroom. And that is where the communication is in place. Make them, like Dr. Gloria will always make us know, if the environment is not conducive for them, we can't get it. Dr. Rania was, while talking now, mentioned something, and I wrote them out here. 5 C's of the teaching methods that we have. You have to customize your learning. When you select a topic, don't be just a teacher. Come in the way the learners are used to you. Customize it. Make changes. Apply things that can make the learning to be fun for them, That way, the next point of the C there is there will be a connection. Customized connections. If you don't have as a facilitator in the classroom connection with your learners, I don't think any learning will take place. The next C there is what? The context. When I want to explain some things to my learners, I use the term in this context. We're not about the content. You can carry the content of any topic and bring it into another form. In that case, we'll now use the word context before the curriculum. You now let them know where they should apply. A very good example also, using ICT practical also, is what we call mail merge. We have document production, we have the data analysis, data manipulation, all those are practical aspects. The mail merge aspect, sorry, when it got to the point where I wanted to make it a project-based learning, I made the learners, especially those who their parents have companies, to go home and teach their own parents. I was like sending them to go and communicate what they've learned home. Your parents' own companies, don't make them write 20 letters to 20 different clients when you can teach them mail merge using the 2 files involved. And one of the learners came back and told me the amount the parent gave her because of that singular act. So I think it's a good one, because in that case, during our open day, the father was so proud of the daughter's performance, and he was like, he just concluded that the daughter has been transformed. So if I combine all the examples I've given now, it rhymes with the topic. Teacher as a facilitator, transforming the pedagogy for what? Effective. That word effective is very vital to us. It's not just project-based, but how effective is that project-based learning that one can say he or she has applied in the classroom. We have so many things to talk about, but because of time, please, I urge us all to really take note of our learners and make sure at the end of the learning style, evaluation is done. And at the end of our evaluation, we should be able to say, yes, learning actually took place. Because if we work as teachers, we may not effectively make learning to take place. But if we help them to be transformed in one way or the other, I think we can say that learning took place. Thank you very much. And as we continue in all these intellectual exchanges we do, I want to especially congratulate those of you who were recently awarded, and we pray that we'll get to your levels. Thank you, all my professors. Dr. Gloria, I appreciate and celebrate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Gloria, my namesake, for shedding light on the teacher's transformative role. You've empowered us to see teaching as mentoring, coaching, co-creating with our learners. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate. Please, if you have any question for her or you have a contribution, please write it down. We're going to attend to that towards the end of the session. So I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker, who is going to be speaking on community-driven projects, bridging education and grassroots impacts in marginalized regions. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Kamal Lohani, a dynamic community development advocate. He believes education must respond to the real issues faced by communities. And today, he will share how student-led projects can serve as catalysts for local transformation. The floor is yours, Ambassador Kamal.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Greetings to everybody. Good evening and namaste from India. Well, my name is Kamal Chandra Lohani. In short, I just write Kamal Lohani. I am from Nainital, Uttarakhand, India. And it's my great pleasure to have you once again to all the esteemed speakers. And thank you very much for listening in advance for your patience and for your valuable time. I have been trying to connect for a long. There is a possibility of electricity failure. So I am having this torch and with this battery with myself to connect, join the meeting. So thank you very much. And respected Gloria ma'am, respected Rania ma'am, respected David sir, respected Shailesh sir, and Dayani ma'am, There are so many great speakers, esteemed speakers. Greetings once again. That's today the topic for me, that is project-based learning. Project-based learning, yes, generally we give projects in the society, in our classroom to our children, and it is a collaborative approach and it is a teamwork. So actually what I think, what we do in our classroom, that must be shared, and what we learn from you, that must be transferred to the classroom. That is the benefit of this great meeting, and that is the benefit of all the great scholars and great minds of the world. What I am getting from you, and that is being transferred to my students. So this is very important platform for me, and my children are very happy and to have you, and they are really curious and keen to join you, and they are getting something new from this a walkthrough education through me. So project-based learning, which is called PBL, is a student-centered teaching, because teachers involved in that activity, that learning, and it is a student-centered teaching method, and where students gain knowledge. It is a teamwork, it is a collaborative approach. So students gain knowledge and skills by working on real-world projects. That is the main benefit and main specialty of the project-based learning. It emphasizes active engagement. All the students get engaged actively. So, and problem solving, they develop the problem solving skills and creating a tangible product or presentation to demonstrate learning. So there are some characteristics of this project-based learning which are beneficial for everybody, and teachers and students both. So projects are designed to address real-world challenges or problems. That is the most important thing about this teaching method. Students are actively involved in this approach and this learning process, and projects involve teamwork, fostering collaboration and communication skills. Projects allow students to delve deeply into topic and develop comprehensive understanding. Project-based learning helps students develop critical thinking, problem-solving skills, research, and communication skills. Instructors are not the instructors, teachers are not the teachers, they are just like facilitators and guides. They help the students in their teamwork. So there are some benefits of this approach, this PBL. The benefits are a deeper understanding and increased engagement, development of new skills, improved retention, and increased confidence. So we have some examples of this PBL project-based learning, like designing a website, creating documentary, and developing a plan for a community garden and other things, and solving complex problems. A community-driven projects. These projects involve local communities taking the lead in planning, implementing, and managing initiatives to address their needs. And this approach empowers local people, and local community to be active participants in shaping their own development and ensure projects are relevant and sustainable. So there are some characteristics of community-driven projects. These are community ownership. So means local community members are central to the project's designs, implementation, and monitoring. Local people are involved in decision making. Projects are designed to address the local needs and specific challenges, and community members give their time, their sources, their skills to the project and project teams. Projects can adapt to the change needs and circumstances of community. So there are some benefits of this community-driven project. The benefits are community ownership and involvement, ensure that projects are more likely to be maintained and adapted over time. Projects are tailored to the specific needs and priorities of the local community and local community people and members. Empowerment and the local people and the community members or residents gain agency and the control over their development and get empowered. Collaborative efforts can strengthen the social bonds within the community members, and by leveraging local resources and the labor, projects can be more cost effective. Some community driven projects like infrastructure development and social service like healthcare, education, and child care, natural resource management, sorry, economic development, and community organizing. But we have some challenges like power dynamics and logistical difficulties and funding and resource constraints and monitoring and evaluation. Now, bridging education, grassroots impact in marginalized regions. Community-driven projects can effectively bridge education and grassroots impact in the marginalized regions by empowering local community and community members and the people to identify their specific needs and develop solutions through collaborative efforts. And this approach ensures that development programs are relevant, sustainable, and inclusive, fostering civic engagement and leading to a meaningful change. So how it can be achieved? So let us see. Prioritize community needs, and so we should give priority to community needs, ensure their participation. Their participation is very essential. Involve community members in identifying challenges and solutions, ensure that projects align with their priorities, bring community leaders together, NGOs and local government stakeholders to design and implement projects. It is called it is collaborative approach. We need to focus on the empowerment of local community to take ownership of their development, leverage education for grassroots impact, utilize local knowledge and resources to create educational programs, skill development, offer training and education programs that equip community members with the practical skills to improve their life, their livelihood, and contribute to local development. Use education as a tool to raise awareness about important issues, health, sanitation, education, as awareness campaigns. So there are some benefits of community-driven projects like increased support, increased participation, improved sustainability, empowerment of the community and community peoples, ownership of their development, and enhanced collaboration. And so, in conclusion, I would like to say that a country like India, which is a diverse and populous country, the grassroots social initiatives play a crucial role in addressing various challenges and bringing about the positive change. And these initiatives, driven by local communities, are instrumental in empowering marginalized groups, promoting sustainable development and inclusive growth. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Kamal, for this amazing presentation, for showing us the true meaning of education for impact. Your approach affirms that when students connect learning to their communities, transformation becomes inevitable. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next speaker, Ambassador Joseph Simba, who is going to be speaking
Yes.
on theory to practice, from theory to practice, transforming curriculum into action through African-centric project models. So he's out. Okay, the floor is yours, please. Just go ahead with your presentation, Ambassador Joseph.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Dr. Gloria. Thank you all speakers and all who are listening. My name is Joseph Simba from Tanzania, Ambassador Joseph Simba. My topic is from theory to practice, transforming curriculum into action through African project models. How do we transform curriculum into action through African-centric project models? The following are the breakdown how to practice it and the approach we could use or present African model project. First one is ground in African world views and the context. How it is be done by starting by localizing curriculum content, or incorporate indigenous knowledge system, or language, histories, philosophies, and contemporary realities. For example, in science unit, or integrating traditional ecological knowledge alongside Western scientific method. The second one is co-create with communities. How we can do that? By engaging students or parents, elders, and local professionals in co-designing projects to ensure the curriculum addresses a real community needs, for example, in agriculture, healthy, entrepreneurship, etc. Example by business studies class creates a cooperative market plan with local vendors. The third one is project-based learning, or in other words, PBL, with an African centric lenses. How we can do it? By designing interdisciplinary projects where students solve problems relevant to their context. Focus on, for example, on Ubuntu, collective humanity, or environmental stewardship and communal uplifting. For example, student designing water purification, a system using local materials nearby villages. And the fourth one is integrate critical pedagogy. How? By encouraging students to question historical narratives, power structures, and the development models, by guiding learners to develop agency and a voice. For example, literature classes, class critiques, colonial texts, and produce African authored counter narratives. And the fifth one is training and support educators. How we can do it? By providing ongoing professional development in African-centered pedagogy and project facilitation. For example, by creating teachers network to share strategies and successes. And the last one is six, evaluate impact with the culturally relevant metrics. How? By using both qualitative stories of transformation and quantitative skills gained, community impact, and their assessment. For example, by celebrating community validation as success and not just the academic grades. Thank you for listening, and I have a few points on how to transform curriculum into African-centric models. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much, Ambassador Joseph. for sharing how African-centric model
Very nice.
can decolonize and deepen education, and for grounding project-based learning in local knowledge and relevance. Your words remind us that transformation begins with embracing who we are and where we come from. Thank you very much for bringing this insight to us. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker, Ambassador MC Dayane Sirwardana from Sri Lanka. She's going to be speaking on reimagining project-based learning for climate action, a call for sustainability in school. Her presentation will focus on engaging students with environmental projects that support the Sustainable Development Goals. Over to you, Ambassador Dayane. Are you there? You are muted. Unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yes. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. And good evening, good afternoon, and everyone. And actually, I'm very honored to be with you today and have a presentation, speak about on the theme of reimagining project-based learning for climate action, a timely and powerful approach to education. Project-based learning is more than just completing a group task. It's a way to engage students in solving real-world challenges that affect them or and in their communities also. So when focused on climate education, it can transform students into passionate problem solvers and future leaders. So climate change is a pressing global issue. We all know that. But its effects are also deeply local. Schools are the perfect place to nurture eco-conscious mindsets. So as teachers, we are the people in the school with the students. So we have a lot of activity. We can have a lot of activities to the students regarding this project-based learning to give refresh their mindsets for this thing. For example, teachers can launch a climate diary activity where students observe and record environmental changes in their surroundings, such as irregular rainfalls or increased temperatures. Another effective task is, I can say, like this photojournalism project, that there are students document plastic pollution or environmental damage in their area and present solutions through posters or digital slideshows. So that will be an interesting activity for the students, and they will like that. So, and also when we come to this project-based learning, we can reimagine, like by embedding sustainability into every subject. For example, when we take science, students can design a solar oven using cardboard or foil to explore renewable energy. When you take English, they can write or illustrate a green storybook about an environmental hero, which can be shared with younger students to raise awareness. So these kind of activities can be done regarding every subject. There are so many examples that we can take. So I have given only 2 examples here. In addition, when you take the schools, we can guide students to create local projects with global vision. A simple initiative like adopt a plant, where students can care for a plant at school or at home and report its growth weekly. Then it teaches responsibility and environmental stewardship for the students. Like this platforms like class-to-class organizations like that. So students can participate in virtual eco exchange. We can give the opportunity as teachers, this kind of experience for students, connecting with peers in the other countries to share their sustainability projects and learn new ideas also. That will be also an interesting thing for our students. Then when you take this, giving students a voice is a key. So let them choose. We can give the chance for the students to choose real problems and explore solutions for that. So for example, they could run a plastic-free canteen campaign in their school, researching plastic use at school, and proposing eco-friendly alternatives for the alternatives. So that will be a very new experience for students. And a group could also create a short eco documentary showcasing local environmental issue and also the global ones, and presenting it during their meetings or assembly or online. So that is also a nice opportunity that we can give for the students. The schools have so many things that we do regarding this topic. So collaboration with community adds the depth. So inviting that will be also good. So the school can invite local farmers or environmentalists to the school as guest speakers and speak about sustainable living or renewable farming things or about the environment. So that is also another activity, another experience that the schools can give regarding this project-based learning. Students can even have these things listening, and they can have their own things after listening to the speakers, so they can have new ideas, they can build solutions for the problems. So there are so many things, activities that we can do with the guest speakers also. So students can even conduct a green audit, like schools' energy and water use, with the guidance of with several local organizations also. So there will be so many activities that schools can. There are so many activities actually that we can do nowadays also with the students, having sustainable projects. So these kind of projects not only develop 21st century skills, but also leave lasting impact on them. So one of my students, for example, I am telling, one of my students built a low-cost water purifier using bottles, charcoal, and sand, proving that innovation and care for the planet that go in hand, and he won the All Island first place for that innovation also. So in conclusion, I have to say this: reimagining project-based learning for climate action turns learning into a mission. So our goal is to help students stop asking. They will ask, some students may ask, what can I do for this problem? But it is not the thing that we have to give for the students. Instead of that, with confidence, they have to say, here's what I have done for this problem. So the schools have also a responsibility, and the schools can give the opportunity for the student to shape their future, who are not only but learners who are not only informed, but also we can inspire them to act. So I think that regarding my topic, actually it is an important, and it is a very important topic that you have given to me, that as teachers we have so much responsibility regarding this topic also, because our generation, future generation, has to live in this world with all the others and cooperate collaboratively. So with the project-based learning, we can do several things to come out with these climate changes problems. And thank you very much, Gloria ma'am, and all the ma'ams and sirs that for giving me this opportunity to talk about this topic. Thank you.
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much. Thank you, Ambassador Diane, for igniting our urgency around climate action. Your model of project-based learning gives your young children and young people a voice in shaping the planet's future. Thank you very much, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing. Well done. So please, if you have anything to add up to what she has said, or you have a question for her, please just write it down. You will be given opportunity to do so. So I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker, Dr. Binita Prakash, who is going to be speaking on measuring impact, evaluating the effectiveness of project-based learning on student outcome. She will guide us through ways to access and evaluate project-based learning for continuous growth and accountability. The floor is yours, Dr. Binita.
Okay, good evening, ma'am,
Good evening.
and namaste from India. Very nice topic this is. I just go through it. Before starting the topic, we can understand about the basic meaning of project-based learning. So, firstly, I want to explain my topic about my topic. My topic is the impact of project-based learning on students' outcomes. In simple words, we want to understand, does program-based learning really help students to learn better? So it is very necessary to understand what is program-based learning. Project-based learning is a teaching method where students learn by working on real projects. Instead of just listening to lectures or memorizing facts, students explore problems, do research, and create something meaningful like a presentation, a model, or report, or even a product. For example, instead of just learning about pollution in a textbook, a student might create a campaign to reduce plastic use in their school. Now, the question is, why is project-based learning important? So, the answer of this, project-based learning helps students develop critical thinking, teamwork, communication skills, creativity, and of course, subject knowledge. But how do we know it really works? That's where measuring impact comes in. Now the question is, how do we measure the impact of project-based learning? So in the answer of this, we can say that we can look at several students' outcomes. First, academic performance. Are students getting better grades or test scores? Second, engagement. Are they more interested and motivated in class? And third, skills development. Are they better at solving problems, thinking critically, or working in teams? And fourth one is confidence and independence. Do they feel more confident in their learning? Now, the way how we can evaluate the project-based learning. There are some different ways. By this, we can evaluate the project-based learning. We can use different methods to gather data before and after test to see if students improved, in student surveys, to ask students how they felt during the project, teacher observation, to see how students worked and behaved, project rubrics, to check the quality of students' final products. What have studies shown? Many studies show that students in project-based learning classroom understand topics more deeply, remember information for longer, work better with others, are more excited to come to class, But some challenges includes in project-based learning there is also challenges. What are challenges? Teachers need training. The teacher should have complete knowledge about the project. The second is project can take a lot of time. Yes, it takes too much time. So a time foundation must be there. Not all subjects are easy to teach through projects. It is very simple. It is really very true that all subjects are not taught by the project method. In summary, we can say that project-based learning can have a very positive impact on students when done right. By carefully measuring students' outcomes like grades, engagement, and skill development, we can see how effective it really is. The more we understand the impact of project based learning, the better we can use it to improve teaching and learning for everyone. That's all. Thank you very much. I hope that I have cleared my topic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gloria ma'am, and thank you all the AWTE teams.
Thank you very much, Dr. Benita, for bridging the gap between inspiration and evidence. Your presentation reminds us that the data can guide, validate, and amplify our efforts. Thank you very much. And we look forward to listening to you in future. We are going to be moving on to the next speaker, Ambassador Oluwabumi Anani, who is going to be speaking on raising change makers, project-based learning as a tool for social innovation in primary education. So her focus today is on equipping young learners with the mindset and skills to become change makers from an early age. Over to you, Ambassador Bumi. The floor is yours.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, our doctor and CEO. Please, I sent a message. Could you help me project the slides?
Yeah.
Well, while we are at that,
I just saw your
Okay.
message, so it's going to take a while for me to download and project. So,
Oh my God.
yes.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, to my colleagues, my co-academic, lovers of quality education. Yes, educators were ready to go the extra mile to ensure that the vision of quality education is realized and also attained, enjoyed by our own students all over the world. A hearty afternoon, morning, evening, depends on where we are joining from. I have the singular privilege again to talk on raising change makers, project-based learning as a tool for social innovation in primary education or basic education. And this topic is hinged upon the theme, project-based learning, preparing students for real-world challenges. You would agree with me that the first thing we need to do is to explore our key terms. The first key term we will see before we begin to talk about how do we begin to raise our students to have or cultivate the mindset of social innovation through project-based learning, there is need for us to address the fundamentals. And the first fundamental in terms of terminology is real-world problems. What are real world problems? Does it mean that there are fictitious world problems? No, in this sense, we are not talking about fictitious. We're not talking about it in terms of whether it is factual or fictitious, but we are talking about what problems that once upon a time they were not so much of a headache, but now they are much of a headache because they are not just localized. They are global in nature. They are threatening and they are urgent. The problems are not local, they're global. They are urgent and could be threatening if nothing is done about them. And what are some of these real world problems? When we look at our SDG goals, the 17 global goals, they actually I highlight or they give cues on what these real world, urgent, global, and threatening problems are. Looking at, for instance, when you look at no poverty, it means poverty is a looming problem because we have the issue of global inflation, we have unemployment, And this is not just a problem with a particular country, but it is interconnected. That means the problem of poverty is in India is going to affect the people in Nigeria. And once it begins to affect the people in Nigeria, it will affect the people in South Africa, and so on and so forth. So it's looming, is urgent, is critical, and needs our attention. All right. So what are these reward problems? We have problems talking about sustainability. Our present decision, in what way are we making decisions in such a way that they do not affect the preservation and the survival of future generations? Poverty, education. In terms of education, we have to grapple with new technologies that keep surfacing second by second, minute by minute. The way we do education, the way we teach is changing and changing very fast, to the point that it has presented a real problem, because any teacher who is not fast enough to learn, to be updated, will experience a disruption and displacement. This is a real problem. We have a problem with climate change. Climate change displacing homes, leading to homelessness, and even increasing the issue of violence, because with climate change, the resources are becoming more scarce and the needs are getting more larger. The population is becoming more gargantuan. And a large population in the face of limited resources is leading to a threatening security issue all over the world. Now, without talking too much about the real world problem, we are now looking at another important terminology upon which our discourse is hinged: social innovation. Now we have come to the point, to the fact that yes, there are real world problems that need to be solved, because generation next, we don't expect them to grapple with the problems like we are grappling with them. We want them to be solution minded. We want them to be solution minded. We want them to be solutions driven. And so that solution can only come through what we call social innovation. So what is social innovation? It is the design and implementation of better ways of meeting social needs. If we had a way of meeting the problem of unemployment in the past, there is need for us to be able to match the intensity of the problem with new ways. That means there must be commensurate solutions to meet with the commensurate weight of the challenge we are facing today. Yes, and so that is why we say it's social innovation, creative ways by which we will solve problems that affect everybody. The problems are social because they affect the young and the old, the new generation and the old generation. So social innovation refers to the development and implementation of new ideas and practices to address social challenges and improve the well-being of individuals and communities. So, and that takes us to our key term, the key term of change maker. Change maker. Who is a change maker? If we have real world problems, if we must innovate, if we must come up with new solutions that can match, that are commensurate with the weight of the problems that are cropping up or that are becoming enlarged, then we need to evolve a new kind of student through the mindset of being a change agent, which means so the 21st century learner will not only see himself as a consumer of knowledge, but will see himself or herself as somebody who uses knowledge to recreate new knowledge. So gone are those days when knowledge was needed for certification, when knowledge was needed for meal tickets. No, those days are over. Knowledge in the classroom, from our lesson note to our lesson plan is geared towards evolving a new set of students who are not just there to be fed or to be spoon-fed, but they are being guided with the necessary knowledge that they will use as raw materials to innovate, to ideate, to implement, to discover new solutions, and to solve the problems of today and also of the future. So, who is a student change maker? A student change maker is a student who actively seeks to solve problems, create positive change in their community, school, or even the world. They are driven by a desire to make a difference and possess the skills and mindset to take action. Yes, so the definition of the student in the 21st century is no longer a student who goes to school, passes his exam, goes to university, and gets a job. No, but a student who goes to school, acquires knowledge, builds on knowledge, recreates knowledge with the eye to making a difference in the community, being a producer, not a consumer, being an active citizen and not a bystander who is protesting always, being a global citizen, a citizen of the world, and not just a citizen of his local community. Having said that, we move to the next key component of our terminology, problem-based learning. If we must make our students to develop a mindset of a change maker, the mindset of innovation, the mindset of a solutionary, then what tool does the 21st century teacher need to achieve this lofty goal? The tool is called problem-based learning, not knowledge-based learning, not examination-based learning, not grades-based learning, but a learning that is geared, that is tailored intentionally towards solving the problems of society. So problem-based learning is an instructional method where students learn through exploration and resolution of real-world challenges or problems. So, which means problem-based learning is exploratory. Problem-based learning it encompasses the 21st century critical skills of collaboration, of creativity, of communication, of critical thinking, and of course, creative thinking. Because how well will you be able to solve a problem when you are not critical minded, when you are not collaborative? No. So problem-based learning is what you bring into the classroom to change the mindset of your students, letting your student know that look, there are in the world. These problems affect you. You just don't wait for other people to solve it for you. You be the one to solve the problem, because everybody it is an interdependent world. And so the child comes into your classroom knowing that he or she is a problem solver, a solutionary, needs to work with others, needs to harness the strength and potential of other students in order to come up with a solution that is tested and that is what explored it and to be sold to the world. The next slide, please. So what does problem-based solving, what does it mean? If we know that problem-based learning is a tool that will help we teachers to galvanize action from our students and help us to cultivate a mindset of solutionally driven skills, then we need to take this as an imperative. Teacher, it is our imperative to drive problem-based learning, because we are in the classroom not to produce grade A students alone, but to produce grade A students who are able to utilize the knowledge gained to create new knowledge, to create solutions, and to solve the 17 problems that have been identified through the SDG goals. Now, why is it imperative for us as teachers to take this challenge very seriously? The whole world is depending on teachers to drive this change, to cultivate students who are solutionary minded, because now statistics shows that more than 75% of students all over the world are below the age from 18 below. 18 below, which means that we have a large percentage of children who fall within the formative age of 0 to 18. And this is a formative age. This is the best time in which we can incorporate, instill in them the mindset of a solutionary. You see why you are influential? You are influential as a teacher. The few of the world lies on our shoulders if we do not work on the mindset of those children to make them take responsibility for the society and for the world. Then we have a loop problem ahead of us. And like I said earlier, the tool we need to wield from today is the tool of problem-based learning that fosters the critical thinking skill, collaborative skill, skill of inquiry, skill of communication, skill of teamwork, skill of leadership, team of initiative, all of these skills that are needed to foster collaborative thinking towards solutions. Next slide, please. And so, why PBL? Why? Apart from the fact that PBL is the tool for change, it's a tool to change mindset, and it's a tool to become solutions driven. Let us compare it to the traditional style where we used to be the know-all and be-all of knowledge, where the child comes into the classroom and expects us to give him everything, where the child comes into the classroom and has to memorize facts, where the child comes into school first term, second term, and third term, and thinks of only coming first, second, or third, where parents think only in terms of percentage. That is traditional learning. In PBL, all that has changed. In PBL, we no longer have to tell the child what to do. In PBL, the child does not have to memorize alone. In PBL, we don't have to dictate the problem. In PBL, the child looks around. What are the problems in my society? How do I connect this problem to my subject in fine arts? How can I connect this problem to my subject in economics? How can I connect this problem to my subject in Arabic? So how will Arabic become a functional tool that I can use in solving this societal problem? How can I harness the potential of the other students in order for us to find a solution to this problem? How can I communicate my idea in such a way that I will not have to keep my idea to myself, but I will collaboratively lend my voice and let my voice be heard so that we can all solve this problem together. How can I use my hands to create a solution? How can I actively take ownership of my learning and become an active member of society, whether I am in grade 1 or I'm in grade 12? So problem-based learning is problem assigned. You identify what you know. It is interdisciplinary. You apply all the things you have been learning in your 6 subjects, in your 14 subjects. You bring it to bear in that particular problem. So how does it work? How does PBL work? We move to the next slide. How does it work? Next slide, please. And this leads us to the characteristic of effective PBL problem. Now, PBL learning. How does it work? I want my learners to be solutionary driven. I want them to come into the class knowing full well that the subject English language is not just for passing essay. How can I use my ability in essay writing to be able to create change in the wider community? This is how it works. It motivates students to understand concepts on a deep level. You have taught students about pollution. They have learned the definition. Then you decide that, okay, with respect to this topic on pollution, do we have any problem around us that tells us that there is a pollution problem? All hands are raised. Or you put them in teams and everybody says, oh, ma, when you go to this locality, you will see paper, you will see everywhere littered. When you go to that society, in that community, they don't even have a drainage system. And that is why all the time they are always falling sick. Oh, I don't like going to that area. That area is full of touts. That area is so insecure. Okay, fine. Now that we have talked about pollution, or we are talking about conflict resolution in the classroom, come up, what will you do in order to solve this problem? What will you do in order to solve this problem of lack of environmental stewardship? And then the children will put on their thinking caps. They are not reading the textbook to give you answers. They activate their critical thinking. They activate their inner resources. They activate their research ability. They begin to communicate. They begin to research. They begin to think on a deeper level. They begin to see the application of what they read in the about what they read in textbooks. They see the application in real life, and they see their connectedness to that societal issue. So PBL incorporates content objectives and connects them to previous knowledge, transfer of knowledge. The students are able to see how what they are learning in English language is connected to what they learned in social studies, in civic education, in biology, in ICT. They see the connectedness. Oh, we learn on the benefits of ICT. Oh, and in the class, we were taught how to use Excel in order to simplify our calculation. Oh, we see the need for data, the need for us to keep data, because when records are not properly kept, it leads to bankruptcy. They begin to connect it. They connect it to scarcity of resources. They connect it to why keeping of data helps us to maximize resources. They understand the meaning of opportunity cost. They understand the meaning of scale of preference. They are able to apply it when they are looking for solution. Should we go for option A? Should we go for option B? Should we go for option Z? Oh, this is a benefit to our textbook. But let us bring it to reality. Is it workable? Is it realistic? Will it benefit more people? Will it benefit less people? Oh, we learned about capitalism. We learned about socialism. But let us go deeper. Which countries are actually practicing socialism or mixed economy? They now begin to research. Oh, they research Finland. They research another country. They compare. And they are able to relate, connect with the reality of the different economic systems, and that way their understanding is broadened, their insight is deepened, their solutions is global minded and not just restricted. Now, PBL also works this way. It requires students to make and defend decisions with logical reasoning. So now they are not just rote learning, they are not just itemizing, but they are able to defend what they read in the textbook, what they have discussed in the classroom with real logical reasoning, backing them up with real life scenarios. And then through problem-based learning, they are exposed to the things happening to other people in other climes, in other countries, in other cultures, and they are able to appreciate the diversity in human existence. Their initial steps must be open-ended and engaging. PBL is not, there is no yes or no answer. There is no right or wrong answer. This builds inclusion, inclusivity. The timid learner is able to open up full well that my answer may not be the textbook, but I am making sense because I am engaging, I am validated, my claims are corroborated through real life scenarios. So can we move to the next slide, please? Now, this is a practical application from my own personal experience of what PBL can do. Now, PBL, everyone is carried along. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer, but there is a workable answer. There is an answer that can be tested. There is an idea that can be piloted. Everybody comes with these ideas, and the ideas are embraced, tested, validated, and at the end of the day, everybody is happy. Everybody is involved. Now look at the first scenario. The students never knew that they could come up with this. They were given a task, but nobody gave them, okay, how are you going to do it? It was just a simple task. The task was not restricted, but the children came up with different ways of attending to this task. Number one, it included everybody. Everybody collaborated. In resources, they collaboratively contributed their ideas, their resources, their time, their energy, and their passion. Number So they owned the experience. And that is why you can see them smiling. You can see them smiling because they came up with these ideas from their intrinsic resources. Intrinsic, they didn't read it from any textbook. No teacher put them through, but they came together and created something that they never thought about. Now, these are just the benefits of PBL. And this is just one case study out of several. Imagine, this is the real definition of a teacher being a facilitator. You are not seeing any teacher there. The teacher is just a facilitator. The students are their own teacher. The students are the ones correcting one another. The students are the ones peer learning. They are peer learning. They are investigating. They are researching. They are improving on whatever it is they are doing. And that's them smiling. At the end of the day, they will tell you confidently, this is what we did. This is what I did. They will not attribute it to a teacher, not because the teacher is not important, but they have come to a level where they can translate all they have learned in the other subjects and see their applicability in just one task. Now we move to the next slide. Now, in spite of the benefits of PBL, in spite of the fact that PBL is a tool for mindset change, where the child, the student no longer consumes knowledge, but is a co-creator of knowledge, producing new knowledge, innovative solution, taking ownership of learning, becoming inclusive, and making the classroom a safe space where every voice is heard. There are challenges. But these challenges are not insurmountable because in most parts of the world, teachers are increasingly embracing PBL. School administrators are increasingly supporting their teachers, regardless of the challenges. However, it's for us to anticipate these challenges so that we will be able to attack them before they become real problems to us. Number one, time constraint. For example, we have a scheme of work. We have a certain number, the things we need to teach within a particular time. Time constraint is real, but we need to think either outside the box or without the box. Resource constraint. Sometimes we don't have the mount protector. Oh, there is need for constant electricity. Oh, but we don't have constant electricity. We need to buy cardboard. We need to do this and that. However, start from where you are. Start with what you have. You don't have to use sophisticated resources. You can use what you have around you. The sticks around you, the bottle corks around you. You can even use your normal paper. It's all about creativity. The more creative you are, the more you realize that you can make do with exactly what you have within your reach. Now, methodology constraints. A lot of teachers, a lot of people do not know how to go about PBL. And this is an opportunity for us. Those of us who know about it, teachers in a walkthrough education, we are at an advantage. It is time for us, not just to restrict this information here on this platform. Let us implement it. Let us share it. Let us model it. Let us bring as many teachers as possible into this instruction mode so that more students can benefit, so that we can have more students whose mindset has been shifted, so that we can have more students who are positioned for the future of that is looming ahead. Now, another challenge is knowledge constraint. Methodology, they know that how many people know about PBL, how many parents know about it, how many school administrators know about it. I dare say that we have more teachers. Though it is not encouraging, the statistics is not encouraging, but we have more teachers who know about PBL than school administrators. So wonder, the school administrators are always at loggerhead with teachers who tend to use PBL to teach because they don't know about it. They don't even understand it. So this is also a challenge for us. Let us go see how we can go out. If you're a school administrator here, talk to your kind, talk to your tribe, bring them on board. Them know how it works so that it can benefit more teachers and more students. Then the final constraint is acceptability constraint. Some people know about it. but they don't want to accept it. They are stuck to their traditional ways. These are the challenges that we face. If your supervisor, if your superior officer is struggling with accepting this innovative instructional method, then that is acceptability constraint. You have to be creative enough. You have to be tactical enough to be able to convince your superior. And how? If your school is not accepting it, go to places where it will be accepted. Let them hear of the results. They will hear the results. They will see the results. And they will come back to you to say, oh, Miss D, Miss A, Miss B, Mr. A, you have not been doing, you should do this in our school. And then you will be in a position to do what you need to do with PBL. Finally, it is possible. PBL in your school, PBL in your classroom, PBL in your community. It is possible, but how? You and I, we have to popularize it. You and I, we must practice it. You and I, we must promote PBL. By the time we begin to do these 3 Ps, you will see that the students will be the better for it. Then we have you and me to thank for repositioning them for global competitiveness. And so I want to say that innovation, according to Steve Jobs, is the ability to see change as an opportunity, not a threat. Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk about PBL and to join my voices with the brilliant voices in this platform to promote the cause of PBL. And for taking your time, please, my apologies. I hope I hope this has been worth your while. I remain Oluwabumi Anani. Thank you.
This is awesome. Thank you very much, Ambassador Oluwabumi Anani, for this amazing presentation. I'm short of words. I will say I will also commend you about your eloquency and the fluency in the flow of the presentation. Thank you very much. This is an eye-opener. You've shown us that even the youngest learner can create impact. Your work encourages us to plant the seed of innovation early. You don't need to wait for them to be all grown up. Start at the earliest, at early stage. Thank you very much. Please, if you have any question or you have anything to add up or maybe a reaction, please just hold on to the end of the session. You'll be given the opportunity to do so. So I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker, Ambassador Stephen Odua. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. He will be speaking on empowerment through project-based learning, building resilience and life skills in challenging contexts. So the floor is yours, Ambassador Stephen. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gloria and the rest of the distinguished panelists. I really appreciate so much for giving me this opportunity this evening. And I would wish just to go through a topic that needs all our attention. Gender sensitive project-based learning, and in particular creating, a safe place for all learners, not only to learn, but also to lead. As we are all aware, leadership must start here. And the process of learning requires that we learn and lead at the same time. We learn leadership skills while we are still young. We allow, therefore, the learners to get these skills as early as possible. This can be very, very vital for future leadership. As you know, when people are in school, we are told we will be the future leaders. Yet, we have not been given the opportunity to develop the skills and the opportunity to serve. Now, how do we create safe spaces for these learners? How do we create safe spaces for the learners to acquire two areas that are very vital for them? One is in learning and leading. Number one, it is very important for facilitators or for educators and for all of us to ensure that we create educational framework that prioritizes a safe emotional, psychological, physical safety in all our learning environments. So there is need for creation of educational framework. We will start from the educators, the educational enthusiasts, and the government at large to create this kind of framework that provides a safe emotional, psychological, and even physical safety for these learners. If the environment will be conducive for them within a specific framework, it will give opportunity to most of the learners, if not all of them, to express and show what skills they are able to. Number two, we need to promote, as educators, we need to promote equity in our leadership. Equity in our leadership. We do not need to go for equality within the leadership framework that we have. We need equity in our leadership. It is important that we we must have within us a sense of allowing every gender to have a taste of leadership. For example, in most of our countries in Africa and even beyond, you will realize that when the women become leaders, especially the top leadership of a country, it is like they just gave to her. It is not just given. They deserve to be in these positions. They deserve to be in this position just the same way the men are in this position. So it is not a question of being given to them. Nobody gives them. They go for these positions. They equally they qualify for these positions. As a result of this, we need to promote this equity in our leadership, both in our learning environments. Another thing that is also very important, as we train these learners, as we make these learners acquire both leadership and learning skills, do we promote peer support and mentorship programs? Do we allow these children to have mentorship programs? The leadership, the current leadership, those who are there, right from the teachers, the educators, do we offer ourselves as mentors for these young learners? Do we have what they can copy? Do we have what they need to learn in us as far as leadership and learning is concerned? So we need, as educators, to come up and foster peer support and mentorship program, or an environment where these learners are mentored on leadership. It is us to provide that environment. They need us. Another thing is that as leadership, as educators, we need to promote inclusive participation. An all-inclusive participation. Now, what do we say? Sometimes back, it was seen, I can remember in one of the institutions I had something called rotational leadership. I just introduced something on rotational leadership, where everyone is given an opportunity to be heard and to serve. An opportunity to be heard and to serve. Why don't we also encourage this in our institutions, that we create an environment where there is more or less of rotational leadership, and this can promote all-inclusive participation. All voices matter. Everyone is given an opportunity to serve and be seen in whatever they have. And even if they do not perform as per the expectations of many, we shall have learned and we shall have given them an opportunity for improvement. And that takes me to the next point of allowing continuous improvement. The learners must be given an opportunity. There is an environment, a safe environment must be created where the learners are given an opportunity to continuously improve on the various areas they still had some shortfalls, both in learning and in their leadership areas. Another thing as an educator, you need as well to ensure that you as an educator make sure you cultivate a sense, a culture of respect and belonging among these learners. These learners must have respect among themselves, and everyone should be seen or must be given opportunity to feel that they belong to the leadership that is in position. We should encourage everyone so that they also develop their self-esteem by encouraging respect and a feeling of belongingness. They need to feel that they belong. And finally, allow me to say that in our leadership skills that we impart to these young leaders or our learners, we must also create among them and must also see a sense of leading with empathy. Leading with empathy. Take yourself into the shoes of those you are leading. So we must also build this among the learners, that they must lead by empathy. And above all, a leader must not just be somebody who is fixed-minded. We must also have flexibility in our leadership styles. The skills, therefore, we must create an environment that the learners feel that they belong to the leadership, that the learners feel that the leadership is ready to listen to them, that the learners feel that there is flexibility in the leadership they have. They can go convince the leadership, and the leadership will always listen. Finally, let us also encourage peer support. Let us encourage peer support, as I had said, and mentorship program. Allow me to stop there and also give other panelists time to air their views. Thank you very much, Madam Dr. Gloria and fellow panelists.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Stephen, for your passionate advocacy for youth empowerment. Your work reminds us that education must not just inform, but also fortify and uplift. Thank you very much. Please, if you have any question for him, or you have something, a reaction to what he has said, please write it down towards the end of the session. You'll be given the opportunity to do so. So I'm going to quickly move on to the next speaker, who is going to be speaking on holistic development through project-based learning, integrating emotional intelligence and ethics. So our next speaker, we are delighted to welcome Dr. Hema Arora, a passionate educator who always advocates for holistic education. Her topic focuses on designing projects that integrate emotional intelligence, ethics, and self-awareness for balanced youth development. Over to you, Ambassador Dr. Hema.
Thank you, Gloria ma'am. I speak project-based learning present real world challenging to students, encouraging them to apply knowledge and skill in authentic context, but it also faces difficulties. Students might struggle with the management group, dynamic research skill, critical thinking, and motivation. The challenges can hinder their ability to fully engage in the learning process and achieve that desired outcomes. Specific learning in project-based learning. First of all, lack of direction. Students may struggle with unclear project goals, requirements, and expectations. Time management, ranking project tasks with academic commitments can be difficult. Group dynamics, collaboration can be challenging with potential issues, answering from communication, conflicts, resolution, and individual contribution. And next, research skills. Students may look the necessary skills to difficulty, research, analyze, and analyze information. And critical thinking. Some students struggle to apply critical thinking to analyze problems, evaluate information, and develop solution. Present anxiety presenting their work to an audience can be a source to stress for some students. Wavering motivation, the interval enthusiasm for a project can when student encourage challengers, learning and delaying the motivation. Unclear assessment criteria. A student may feel uncertain about how their work will be evaluated, especially when it comes to specific aspects like creative collaboration and effort. Overwhelming, challenging, clear expectation and structure provides project objective in timelines and rubrics to ensure students understand expectation and track their programs. Teachers support facilitation, offer guidance, feedback, and support throughout the project to help students over challenge, stay and track. Collaboration by assignment solves visual communication and providing opportunities for peer review and feedback. And other research skill training provides students with the necessary resources and training to empower their research skill. Critical thinking exercise, integrate activities that encourage criticized thinking, problem solving, and analyze. Building confidence, create supportive and encouraging learning environments when students feel comfortable taking risks and making mistakes. Personalized learning allows students to choose projects that align with their interest and strength, encouraging motivation and engagement. Regular and feedback provide regular feedback and assignment through project to help students track their progress and identify areas for improvements. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Dr. Emma. Thank you very much for reminding us. Can you hear me? Like my internet is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yes,
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 Oh,
yes.
okay.
yes.
Okay. So
Yes, we can hear you.
okay, your insights complete today's journey, showing us the soul of education through project-based learning. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I want to move on to the next speaker, Ambassador Nahid Raza. He's going to be speaking on project-based learning for peace building, fostering intercultural understanding in diverse society. His work bridges hearts across borders, and today he will lead us on how real-world learning can be a tool for building empathy and harmony in our increasingly diverse society. Over to you, Ambassador Nahid.
My sincere gratitude to Gloria, ma'am, ma'am, for giving us opportunity, well-defined topics, and making us using our time. And in fact, we are becoming, we it seems that we are in right direction under her guidance and leadership, as Stephen sir stated. Right, he was talking about leadership. Inani ma'am talked about project based learning, and Hema ma'am just concluded. My sincere gratitude to our chairman and David sir, and Rania ma'am, Prajapati sir is there, Gandhi ma'am is there. So lot many dignitaries are sitting in this gallery. Joseph sir flying aeroplanes, right, to welcome me. Thank you, sir. So today topic given to me is project-based learning, fostering intercultural understanding in diverse societies. So before we go towards projects, we should try to recognize each other, respect each other, appreciate each other culturally, and specifically wherever we have differences. Because difference is not contrary. Difference is beauty. It makes us wiser. It makes things better, and we learn more. And many things we learn also to be fit in society, to be a contributor in society. Engagement and experience through project based learning. Programs like service learning. First of all, we should try to serve. And when we serve, we learn more. Mohan Karamchand Gandhi, we love affectionately call him Mahatma Gandhi. He started serving, he learned. Serving and he learned. If you see his speech on inauguration, on his presidential, and you learn his speech, you will realize that diversity is beauty, and we should try diversity. What we can do, we can go to other states, we can go to other countries to learn, as well as values are exchanged. And values are exchanged means it is chemical reaction. We are changed, and the person we come in contact is changed for betterment. Cultural exchanges should be there, right? Yeah, individuals in diverse cultural context helping to deliver, right, and build each other. Education and training, they are very much essential, and if they are integrated in multicultural setup, right, it is immensely useful in today's multicultural society. So we need to set curricula in which all the diversified voices are included. Cultural competency building training ought to be there. Intercultural workshops should be set up. So in this manner, we can become better, wiser, and right. And project-based learning foster intercultural understanding in diverse societies by engaging students in collaborative real-world projects. And life is also a project. Life is research that repairs them, right, and prepare them to explore, research, and interact with different cultures. This approach, holistic skill development takes place, cultural empathy takes place, authentic engagement takes place. So lot many things are there included. So my, in conclusion, my sincere gratitude to all the people sitting in gallery and listening me so patiently. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Nahid, for reminding us that education can be a bridge of peace. Your vision of project-based learning as a tool for understanding and unity deeply resonates with our mission in a work through education, and I truly appreciate what you do. Thank you very much. And now I am going to be inviting our special guest who surprised us today, our chairperson in the person of Dr. David Greenfield. I believe he woke up too early just to join us because it's still early in the morning for him in Los Angeles. So thank you very much, Dr. David, for being with us today. We're happy to have you. Over to you, Dr. David.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you all. And it's not so early now. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time. But I did wake up early to make sure I would make it on time with no computer issues. And this has been a really fabulous session today. It speaks a lot to many of my own interests, in particularly collaboration and cooperation between students, teachers, disciplines, between everything. And yes, Nahid, I actually we'll have to talk after, but a lot of my own work is definitely dealing with collaboration from the bottom up. And everybody brought up great points, and I just took some notes. There was too much for me to repeat everything. Starting with Raina about the kind of collaboration is necessary for going out to space or any kind of project. It's got to be one of the things we have to realize, which I'm sure you do, is that any big project requires a lot of different skill sets. And I would look back to one of my favorite academic theorists, Howard Gardner, who wrote a book about multiple intelligences, that different people have different interests, and those interests guide them to whatever they want to do. And everybody has, as I say, a place at the table. When you're creating a project to go to space, you need people that can communicate it about what you're doing to the people who don't speak science, or who don't speak astrophysics, or who don't speak that language, but could understand enough of it to be in awe of what's going on and to support you if you can communicate with them. And that's been one of my goals, is learning how to talk multiple languages, meaning my expertise, my mind thinks primarily in what we would say the liberal arts, literature, art, painting. I'm a painter. The work that I do in graphic novels is very much involved with that. But within those books, the books I use, like even comics, I just finished a book called Einstein in Kafka Land, which is kind of it's a semi-memoir of when Einstein and Kafka were both in Prague at the same time, and how they kind of fed off each other. And within that book, although it's not the main thing, the author describes Einstein's famous theory in a way that non-physicists can understand. So we can stand back in awe. Like, how do we get to that collaboration? And I think part of it is celebrating the diverse interest and strengths of the different students and making space for them in whatever we do. Because as we've all noticed, the world is kind of in a, not in a good space. And we need every kind of mind, from an astrophysicist to an economist to a dancer to somebody who writes comic books, to combine our talents together. And how do we do that? And real world issues. Somebody spoke about real world issues in local learning environments. Perfect. There's this, the story of a gentleman from Kenya, I think, who lived in a village that had no power, no electricity, to run the pumps they needed for water. And he just looked around at all the scrap metal around his village and created a pump, a windmill-driven pump that created powered the batteries. He spoke about it at the TED conference. A movie was made about him called "The Man Who Powered the Windmill" or something of that. It's fabulous. It gives you an idea of what happens when people come together and looking, even if they don't have the access to the technology, to the tools that surround them, they can still use whatever they've got and create something on the local level that can be then spread to a more global level, to all the villages that don't have power. Here's what you can do. stimulate them to think, which is the main thing. We want to get people to learn how to think creatively, to think outside of whatever box is being presented to us. Because I think a lot of the answers to problems, both metaphysical and physical, are not in, they haven't been discovered yet. And that led me to think about the kind of design that I'm very, a design process that I'm a big supporter of, called agile design. Agile design is when you take a project and you say, this is what I want to do. I want to build, well, I'll use a real world example that I know about that used in the National Museum of Holland, I think it was, where they decided to redo the website to make all of the art in the museum, what's available and what's in storage. They wanted to make it everything available to the nation because they believed it all belonged to the nation. Well, that was a huge project to digitize, to create databases that could be accessible, an interface that makes it easy for people to get information. And so they created a team from different departments, and the team would meet, they knew what their main goal was, but they had to figure out a plan. But since it had never been done before, they had to create the plan kind of on the go. And so you couldn't be too married or invested in the process. You knew the process was critical, but as you're working, you might find yourself up against a wall and it's like, no, that's not going to lead me somewhere. So the agility of it is that a group of people would meet, the main team would meet several times during the year, formally and then a lot of informally, and sit down and try to break down what the issues were, where the constraints were. And they did that called a scrum. A scrum, if you know rugby, is when everybody kind of gangs together and they try to find the ball. Well, in this case, a scrum was you get all these minds together and they try to figure out what the solutions are. And sometimes you might get an idea that's so off the wall, but it gets you thinking like, oh, that's interesting. I think we should try this. So how do we present that to youth that are starting to learn? And part of it is by letting them explore and experience mistakes and celebrate those mistakes, not because they did something bad, because they tried something. It didn't work. Okay, what did you learn from it? What didn't you learn? And how can we modify it? Maybe there's something in that experiment or whatever it is where they can start breaking out of the traditional definitions and find something that no one's ever thought about before. We don't know, but we need to provide the opportunities for people for youth to learn that learning is a really good thing and mistakes need to be celebrated, the errors. And through that, we're going to build something. In the end, it took about a year and a half, and the museum created this amazing website along with how they redesigned the way the museum itself worked. And so you had all of these things that were impacted by this one project because they did go in saying, well, think about if we want to make a rocket that goes to Jupiter, not Mars, Jupiter. We have no idea how to do it. Think about what would happen if we went in and said, this is what we're going to do. This is how they did it in this way. This is how they did it in that way. And we're going to do the same thing. But as they get started, they realize Jupiter opens up a whole new set of challenges. So if you go and saying, this is what we want to do, here's some ideas that we can start out with, like you're planting seeds and the seeds grow. You want to create a crop. You can't just, you need to plant the seeds, you need to nurture, and you need to make mistakes. I mean, that's how Gregor Mendel discovered about genetics, by planting the seeds and looking at them and seeing what worked and what didn't work. And we need to put that into the learning experience. So even a little kid comes in and because I was a horrible math student and I had teachers that just made it worse. I would try my best and they'd come down and tell me horrible things, what I didn't know. Then I suddenly came across a math teacher who said, oh, that's interesting. Well, let me show you this way. Or what if you think about it like this? That one question, what if you think about it like this, is going to open up all kinds of ways. We guide them. We let them experience. That's part of experiential type learning. And there are plenty of books on theory about that too. Somebody said something about making learning enjoyable. They're great theories about that. I have a book called This Playful Environment, written by an Australian educator who spent a year as a guest lecturer at USC in Los Angeles. And that was his whole point, is turn this into something that's pleasurable. Even the challenges where you're banging your head, it's like you start banging it to a rhythm, and I know in Africa, you've got great music, India too, all based on rhythm. Get into the rhythm of thinking. And Greece also. I mean, every country in the world has drumming and rhythms. How do we take that general idea and get into the rhythm of learning? It doesn't work this way. We'll try it that way. And what else did I write? Difficult punctuation necessary to think. Oh, we shouldn't really think about budgets when we're in school because we don't have to. It's important to know what a budget is so when they get into the real world, but let the learning be free of that. And as they get into the higher grades and start reaching out and doing projects that are part of the community, then you can start thinking about it. And then you bring in, they're experts in all kinds of fields in cities and even in villages. You find experts. Then you start bringing the people that understand the different components of creating a budget and managing the money. And they're going to be people within the team that naturally go to that. Support them, celebrate them, bring them in and guide them into learning about, what it is that they're really interested. The people that want to do physical engineering, mechanical engineering, or computer engineering, teach them, let them know about everything. So at least, like if you go into into a restaurant of somebody whose food you've never eaten before, you take a little taste of it and you decide what you like and what you don't like. The same with intelligence, the same with building a rocket ship or environment. How do we fix an environment? We don't have a button to press. We need to bring in everybody. Besides an educator, I'm a painter, and I have paintings that I painted on, not on regular canvas, on pants legs, jeans. Jeans are a great material to paint on plastic. My daughter, who's also an artist, and I were talking, and she wanted to set up an organization, a global organization that takes recycled materials and puts them in a warehouse so artists come in and take those materials. So you're supporting the arts. Oh, you're supporting the arts, and you're also supporting um, um, recycling. And there are lots of places around the world. I know in India, I've seen movies about people taking plastic and melting it and turning it into building bricks. There are all these different things around the world where we can take the garbage that's around us and do something with it that's out of the ordinary. As an artist, I love to work with different things. I have things I made on plastic, on canvas. I've used phone books, carved out phone books and painted them. There are artists, we can do things, and we can also set up ways that they could use their work to talk about what's going on in their world. Meaning, here's a project that's created out of recycled material that's addressing recycled materials. So it's a cycle. How do we bring in whatever we've got to use whatever is around to talk about what we know about? We can do it with science. There's that crazy Ukrainian woman who teaches at Dartmouth, I think it is, in the US, who knows about physics. And when she talks about physics, she brings in balloons, she brings in ice, she brings in whatever's got, and does something that explains a law of physics in a very fun way that engages the students. I mean, maybe that's the word we want to do, is how do we find ways to engage the students within the process of agile design at different parts through the whole design process. You're going to have different people who have to be a leader. When you get to a part of the project where you're really focusing, say, on mechanical engineering, well, the mechanical engineer is the person who's going to have to be a leader and guide people and ask the questions and help find the answers. The person who likes illustrating is going to have to know about it so they can illustrate a document about the process and what they had to do. So, you know, you've got both people. I worked at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. I was an instructional technology analyst. One of my final projects before I left was working with a dance instructor and a computer engineer, where she wanted to create a space where within the space, when she moved, it actually triggered music. So her dance was not just a dance, but she was playing music. He wanted to do something where he used sensors to create that, but he didn't understand what she was doing, the language of dance. She didn't understand what he was doing. And I sat in the middle and kind of translated for both of them, where they both came out like, oh, we can do this. And they come in and they collaborated on a project. We need to find those languages or somebody who can talk about it. And that's when different leaders come in. Whether they're talking about the arts, you need to bring in someone who understands the arts. When someone's talking about writing a manual about the project, you need someone who understands how to write. But you get together and then you can create a full-on project that you actually outside of school into the real world. You've got something that you can use for a proposal to look for funding for it. If you can explain it in different ways to different people, it's very exciting. I mean, I get excited by that. And one of the ways to do it, I think Naheed talked about intercultural. I talk about multicultural and multinational. The work that you're doing when you work with other schools and the students are working with other students of other nationalities, of their cultures, of their communities, within the process of learning about something, and also learning about each other and learning how to work with each other. So as they move up the educational chain, you know, you have a kindergarten and a few years later they're in 11th grade, you know, they suddenly, or they understand that the people they're working with are just people that live in a different country. They have certain traditions that are only to them, but there are other traditions that are modified to things that they celebrate. Within the Jewish religion, we have a ritual for boys and girls when they start becoming adults. At the age of 13. They have to do they have to go into a synagogue, which is our temple, and say certain words and read certain things in Hebrew. And then they can start participating in the adult rituals. Every tradition, every culture has something like that. They see that, well, they're not doing this way, but they're doing it that way. Great. Now let's talk about art. You know, let's talk about physics. Let's talk about whatever. But we need to get the kids early learning that their neighbors in another country 10,000 miles away are really neighbors. You know, that's the beauty of having Zoom, the beauty of having the internet, that we can create that global world that many leaders, and I put that in quotation marks, are forgetting about. You know, what happens in India impacts us in America. What's happening in America now is impacting the world, and it's driving me absolutely insane to think that we have an idiot running the president and all this is damn tariffs and crap. I mean, it just, you know, okay, here's what I have to say. Bye, Kamal. Write to me directly, and I'm happy to talk to you. And any of you can write to me, and I'm always happy to talk to you and communicate and provide whatever, you know, guidance that's based on my knowledge or just wacky questions that will get you stimulated about what you need to do. I cannot believe the stupidity of these people that want to be leaders, because they're just selfish narcissists. We need to think about the people. We need to provide the tools to young people that they're not looking down at someone because they're a different color or a different gender or a different nationality. Everybody has a voice at the table in saving our planet and teaching people, so everybody has a part in doing it, and everybody's passionate about getting up and doing what they're going to do, and passionate about sharing with somebody else. Working with a teacher in Russia about 10 years ago, she wanted me to speak about art, which is very easy for me to do. But while we're talking, the students started asking me questions, and it suddenly occurred to me that I was the first American that they'd ever had a conversation with. They see us on TV, they see us in the movies, but they never have an opportunity to interact. I'm interacting with people from parts of the world. I've met people here in the U.S., but now I'm meeting individuals and getting to have these really interesting conversations and think, oh, your concerns are my concerns. How do we educate and bring in children so they're in this community of learners and this community of humans on this planet, and they're accepting everybody and working together like this? Gloria, I salute you again. And working together and asking questions, Dr. Rania, everybody here, we're all building that. And how much does it really cost us right now to be having this conversation? Virtually nothing. And we are getting tools and seeds that we can come back to our classrooms and say, I had this really interesting discussion with people from Greece and India and everywhere else. And this is what I learned from them. We open up our minds, we open up our hearts, and we start finding the solutions to send people on rocket ships and send people, some people. I met with a friend of mine yesterday that I've known since second grade, long time ago. No, first grade. And he got into diving. He said he was always interested in fish. He's a photographer, and he's made 3 books about deep sea diving from all over the world. I, as a kid, was interested in astronomy. I love to look at the stars. So we have both ends of the world covered, the deepest and the highest. And then art opens up another thing. Everybody has something to say. And if we're creative and we don't think about what's put onto us, but think about, well, that's really interesting. What would it be if we created, we all looked at the stars and we had to create a learning adventure for the students? They had to come up, what would you want to know about? I had that in graduate school. Somebody in my master's program, somebody asked me, one of my teachers asked us to do something like, and everybody came up with like Star Trek or Star Wars, all these different space things. And I was thinking, well, I love to look at the stars. And when I look at the stars in North America, I see a certain set of constellations. And these constellations have thinkers to create myths and stories about the history. But if you're below the equator, you're looking at a whole new set of constellations. So what if somebody in Australia was looking up what constellations would see, what stories would be written, and how many of those stories correspond to stories in the north? It gets you thinking about our placement in the stars. So we can do wondrous things if we allow us to really open up our thoughts about collaboration and cooperation, and get our students. I've taught and I teach graphic novels. My day is I want kids to, and I won't go into the, you'll have to come to one of my talks about it or invite me, because I think Gloria will tell you my talks are pretty engaging. But within a graphic novel, you have people writing a story, can write a story about themselves, their own culture. That's cheap to make. It gets the cognitive benefits are through the roof. And you can make the story, send it as a PDF to somebody in another country where they learn about you and they have a book for their library about who and what they are. The Hindus just have that holiday where they throw colored powder everywhere. I can't remember what it's called. Hindi, maybe.
Holy.
What a fabulous
Festival of
holiday.
Colors.
Holy, yeah. What a fabulous holiday. I'm a painter. I love color. What a great way to celebrate. And if somebody sees it, they'll think these people are completely nuts. Well, they're as nuts as I am, but they find something to celebrate. So how do we share those experiences and learn to celebrate with each other and not always put each other down? So I've talked a lot. These are some of my thoughts from listening to all of you. And thank you for letting me participate. And to Gloria and Rania and all of you, it's always nice to learn new stuff and to try to understand new accents, which is part of the process. And it's a process that has to be celebrated because we're different people, but our hearts all beat the same. So think about that as we go into our sciences and our literature. And now we have to talk about what you're doing, because I think the work I do with graphic novels would fit really well. Actually, graphic novels, I have graphic novels about traditional Japanese food, about Western and Eastern psychology and philosophy. A comic book basically telling you about Nietzsche. I'm not a fan of Nietzsche, but at least I'm talking about, so I can be not a fan of him instead of just saying, "Oh, that's Nietzsche. I don't like his name." I'm not gonna. I have to know about it, like it, and we need to find ways that we can do that. I love African music. I can only say I love it because I heard it a lot. I danced in a dance troupe. I love Indian music, and I never danced Indian, but I watched the great Kathak dancers and women doing these magical things with their fingers. I celebrate our diversity, and we need to understand how we can do that. And it can be through the hard sciences or through the soft sciences, but we have to accept each other and all of our crazy and wonderful traditions, and go out and inspire students, because it's all about bringing the passion into the classroom and letting the students find their passion in what they do and be able to share it with whatever the students are. And I would suggest also another great person to read is Seymour Papert, who wrote a book called The Children's Machine. He was a mathematician who studied psychology with Piaget in Switzerland, and then went to MIT and taught math and was one of the founders of the Media Lab. And he brought people together, people that he put a computer in a classroom the first time so students could actually play with it within the class. They didn't have to go to a computer lab. And he saw a kid who was totally into programming working with a kid who was totally into graphic design, creating a computer game together where they needed each other in order to do it. So think about that as you go out. Think about the things you don't even know are connected, but are connected. Thank you. I wish you all, and to Gloria for getting this whole thing going, and for everybody for the patience to listen to me rant and rave about the importance of education and fun.
Great, sir. Great. You have spoken at length, sir. I appreciate it. And no, spectrum was very big. Great, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for squeezing me in, Gloria. As soon as I saw the topic, I knew I had to speak. Thank you all.
Thank you. We appreciate
for all the fabulous work you're doing.
Thank you. Today's gathering has indeed been a statement of the power of collaborative thought and shared commitment to the advancement of education. So we have been privileged to hear from exceptional speakers who have brought to the fore critical insights on project-based learning, highlighting its profound role in fostering global competence, intercultural understanding, ethical leadership, environmental consciousness, and student agency. Each presentation has not only informed but inspired us to reflect on our practices and envision new pathways forward. So I want to thank you all for this present. In fact, I've really learned a lot, and I believe everyone has. So thank you once again to all the speakers, and all the every member of the audience. I know that you've picked one thing or the other today. So I want to hereby open the floor for more discussions. If you have any question, any contribution, anything to add up to what you've learned, what we've all learned today, please feel free to do so. So the floor is open. Okay, yes, Dr. Rania.
Yes, first I would like to congratulate Dr. David. It was an amazing surprise today that he joined us. We missed him a lot, especially his humor, and I love his very targeted insights, very targeted points always. And I would like to ask actually Ms. Olawabuni Anani to tell us some strategies. We talk about so many hours about the PBL, project-based learning, but we know that in practice, this is not always happening. I mean, it's For some students, it's a time, to get distracted, to beat each other, to lose time. It's not easy to pose discipline. There are many discipline issues if we talk about collaborative work and project-based learning. We all know about this. Let's be realistic. It's not easy. So what are some strategies that you suggest, Ms. Anani, in order not to lose control? How to monitor project-based learning from the beginning, to set clear goals, and then to avoid, for example, the groups. We have seen the case of two students who are working only, the others are watching. So how we can monitor all these things? Okay, can you unmute?
Yeah. Okay, that's a very realistic question because these are things that happen, especially when students become familiar with the instruction method, problem-based learning. That is one, familiarity. Then second, the age grade of the learners could also contribute to the degeneration of order in the classroom. Okay, fine. In order for that is a constraint. In order for us to overcome this kind of chaos, the chaotic breakdown of order in the classroom, one, then you find out that some students may not be cooperative. They may decide to leave it to certain smart students to do it. And then the other reticent students, they believe that, okay, student A is very smart. She will answer all the questions. So in order for us to overcome those possibilities, number one, there has to be, you mentioned something, goal setting, very beautiful. But the first thing I think we could do from my own personal experience so far is that we make sure that the talk said in such a way that it interests the students, the learners. You craft it in a very interesting way. So it's not just about bringing a topic into the classroom, but crafts it in order to suit the language of the learners. Dr. David said something that I really love. He said that some people speak sciences, some people speak the arts. So it is as simple as that sounds. It's poignant. I mean, communication, what do the students speak? What language do they speak? What turns them on? What do they enjoy, to talk about? So it can be a question on pollution, like I used the example of pollution, or even culture. But can you craft it in such a way that they will look forward to, to doing it? So that is number one. How do you craft the topic? Number two, how do you, what is the composition of the teams? What is the composition of the teams? Your team composition has to be very, very deliberate, intentional. You don't put friends on the same team. You don't. Because when you put friends on the same team, certainly you can expect that one of them will not be serious. You do and then mix up the teams based on diverse passion, diverse interest. For example, you know that. Hello. So I've made mention of topic crafting. I've made up mention of team composition. The third thing we have to do is goal setting. What is our goal? It is not the teacher that will set goals for the learners. The learners are the ones who will set goals for themselves. That this is what I want to achieve at the end of the day. Number four, there will always be a progress report. So at the end of the session with the collaborative work, each learner has something called exit tickets. In that exit ticket, the learner will itemize what he or she contributed to the team, what he or she learned from the team. So if you have not contributed anything, there is no way you'll be able to write confidently. So because they know that they are going to write a brief report, not in a sentential form, highlighted, it is guided, everybody will want to be heard. Everybody will want to contribute something. Then apart from the fact that they'll be collaborating, there has to be an assignment that will involve their reading, exploring the internet, watching videos, and doing some recording. So when we incorporate these activities into their problem-based learning. They have a sense of responsibility and they have a sense of accountability. Knowing full well that another student cannot do your recording for you, another student will not come around to do your presentation on a particular culture for you because the tasks are differentiated, the tasks are personalized, despite the fact that it is still a teamwork. In order for them to arrive at that goal, each person has to play his or her part. So when the student knows that, look, the success of my team is also dependent on me. If I'm able to do my part, now this is a chicken, for example. I am giving you the wing. Your own part is the wing. Your own part is the head. Your own part is the leg. And I know that if I don't take care of the leg, we will not have an old chicken at the end of the day. I will be responsible. I will make sure that I take good care of the leg so that when student A comes with his head, student B comes with his wings, student C comes with the intestine, they will not be looking for the leg. Because when they look for the leg is in my custody. Then it will be easy for them to know that I am sabotaging the success of the group. So by the time we do this, everybody has a sense of accountability and responsibility. So to sum up, number one, let us create very interesting topics. It depends on our choice and selection of words. Number two, composition of our teams. Do not put two friends or people with the same ability together. You can put a phlegmatic with a melancholy, with a sanguine. So we have to look at this from personality, from passion, from interest. We have to be very, very intentional. Number three, we need to have goals. We are not the ones going to set the goal. We have our own goal for them. They need to set their own goals for themselves. Number four, exit ticket. Then finally, you give them individual tasks that will lead them to the whole of the task. So by putting these 5 things in place, they guarantee accountability and a sense of responsibility towards team success. So when we know that I am responsible for the success of my team, I will play my part, the other person will play his part, and then we will be focused on the task at hand. Thank you.
Yes, perfect. Definitely, we need to set clear expectations early in the beginning, set behavior norms also, it's very important. Teach collaboration skills, so we need to be ready for conflict resolution, to be ready for active listening, for time management also, and at the same time, as you said, mix group work with individual accountability. This is very important. And of course, if it's possible to break project into milestones, I mean to set some mini deadlines and regularly check them. Thank you very much. I think it was very important intervention, very important tips. Yes. Tell us your opinion because here in Greece, students are very aggressive. We have serious discipline issues. It's not easy to handle them. That's why I asked this question. Okay, Mr. Naid, can you suggest something?
Yeah, I
this?
can. As no, Stephen suggested that we need to rotate leadership. In the same manner, we should rotate leadership of children. Say children are sitting, we are rotating leadership. Then teachers must listen twice. Let students be speaking and let them express. And when we are listening, children are more active, right? And when they bring in new projects, it should be appreciated, autonomy should be given, so you will feel like every child is on task. And if we are continuously teaching spoon feeding, they will stand nowhere. So let them have autonomy, let them express, and teachers must be facilitated. Let them form group because children learn from children. Peer learning is very essential and superpower component. So we should go for it. And morning assemblies could be used for bringing in projects. Whatever new project is created by children, it should be displayed, it should be appreciated, right? And it should be communicated to parents also, so you will realize that we create a culture of project based learning. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. and it consumes less
Yes,
time and more productivity output could be better. And I hope that I have satisfied the question of Rania ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
yes, as they can collaborate as long as they're ready for this. And what Ms. Nani said, we should not form groups with students of the same abilities, because the two students will work and the others will rest. So we need to be very careful about how we form groups, the dynamics of groups, in order to avoid these things. Peer learning is fine as long as they know how they should go along with this, with the rules, etc. And the behavior. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nahid. I think it's a member, Jeoma, wants something to say or to ask.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm greeting you from whichever zone you have joined. I want to appreciate all the speakers. You have really addressed the topic of the day, hands-on project-based learning. I want to say, for me, is one of the topics I love addressing in a forum like this, because for me, I've not come to full agreement or conviction that project-based learning is the best form of learning, because the evaluation, the measurement and evaluation doesn't give accurate learning ability of each child. In as much as is a very good method of learning, I still want to say that the means of evaluating the students should be appropriately planned and applied. Why do I say so? I always talk from experiences. I have, let me say, okay, now my case study is from someone from a high school that applied for a job. So one of the questions asked was, what is your project topic? He couldn't remember. Somebody that was not up to 2 years out of school, he couldn't remember, because there are so many compromises. Some lecturers are compromising, collecting money for students, from students to carry out their project. So in this way now, I don't think the students have learned. Then I also want to say that individual differences, individual abilities. I know of also someone that's had a group assignment like that. What the group did was just to contribute money and give to someone that they knew is best in that group. And they all went to their various home, and at the end of the day, they came up with a project done. At this instance, I don't think that the members of that group, all of them really learned, because they only contributed their money. So I want to say, I don't know. My question is there any way, apart from the project given to children in the class, that can be monitored? Maybe they asked to maybe come up with something, draw something that it could be monitored, but take home projects and group this. Is there any way that the evaluation can figure out children that actually participated in that project or not? So that's my question. Is there anyhow, maybe each child ability will be felt in a given project? Because I know that the projects are being left in the hands of those that are intelligent, ignoring the others, and the others will not even feel bothered whether they learn the objective of the assignment. They will not even be after it. What they know is that their money they share to carry out their assignment, they've paid their bills. So how can we ensure that each child in a group is identified? Maybe the learning objective from each child is identified at the end of project-based learning. Thank you so much.
Okay, if I'm given the opportunity to respond to this, Doctor, may I go ahead? Dr. Rania?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course, of course. Yes, yes.
Okay. I understand the perspective from which Dr. Para is speaking from. If you look at the slides when I was speaking about the challenges, there is a challenge of methodology. Yes, a lot of times when we look back, we assume that we are familiar with problem-based learning, which we popularly call project or practical in this part of the world. We notice that yes, of course, there are some students who will pound the task off to other learners. They would contribute money and all that. And that is because there was no structure. It wasn't structured. It was haphazard. I mean, people did not really gain the consciousness of what they call problem-based learning. They just call it projects. They just call it task. They just call it practical. And teachers, as far as teachers were concerned, if so far you put in their group work, fine. Oh, yeah, come and defend it, and the team chooses one student to defend the project. Because the learning objective was about grade, not about how do I put it, active, you know, active engagement. That was not the goal. The goal was not active engagement. The goal was not to see to what extent the learners have been able to imbibe towards applying. So if we look back at the way we were taught or we did group work, teamwork, it was all about grading. It was done in a hurry. Let us be honest with one another. Our teachers were not very intentional. There was no structure. There was no goal. So the only thing is, oh, your next test is going to be a practical. Your next test is going to be group work. Okay, oh yeah, come. How many people came? Oh yeah, you people will score the same mark. No. But when we talk about problem-based learning, it is highly structured. There is a methodology, and the teacher must have done a lot of planning and preparation before assigning this kind of task that involves problem-based learning. It's not spontaneous. You require a lot of planning ahead. It requires you knowing each of your learners, knowing their propensity, knowing what they are capable of doing, and putting up structures to make sure that they are not able to carry out those negative propensities. I use the analogy of a chicken. If I have a chicken and at the end of the day, I want my students to produce another chicken or to dissect that chicken and put it together again, I will not just give them the chicken and tell them, find a way of dissecting this chicken and put it together. No, I will give each of the chicken is the problem they have to solve now. I'm using the analogy of a chicken to represent the task. Now, the task, I will not just give them the task. They will dissect the task and assign each member of the team a part of the whole. There is no way, so there is nothing like you are contributing money to the group. No, because there is no need for contributing money except your own part of the task requires you to buy reagents, to buy cardboard, to buy this or that, but that is your part. So you play your part, I play my part, Dr. Renia plays her part, then together we will now bring the parts again and piece them together to form a whole. So when I don't play my own part in the collaborative task, a gap is visible, and it will be easy for the intentional teacher to see the gap, to identify the person who has created the gap, and to hold that person responsible. It will be easy for the team to follow up on that one person who is not contributing his quota. So I believe that if teachers are intentional and they understand the methodology behind problem-based learning, and they know how to document, and they also follow up on their students to document their findings, their progress, their observations, you will discover that there is no shortcut. to problem-based learning that will make a student to contract his own part of the task out. So if you do it well, intentionally, and you involve design thinking, you will realize that problem-based learning is a very good way of building the cumulative knowledge experience of your learner. You want to know how well your learner has understood the different parts of your course and your course with problem-based learning, and you will see the impact it will have on them if you are well prepared for the task ahead. Thank you.
May I answer? Ma'am?
Yes, yes, of course, Mr. Naid.
Thank you,
Mr.
thank you.
Nani.
If you want to evaluate project, first of all, the concrete project could be evaluated. At the same time, if we should ask questions, question after question, we realize that child knows about it or not. It is very good because work teaches work. If child has done second, you know that as I told, no, rotation, leadership rotation is very good aspect, that from passive learning to active mode. And you know, every child is not active, and not being active should also be respected, because some children apply their logic how to bring wood, some are applying wood in the bonfire, and some are telling how to bring, how to burn it. So every logic right is important component of the group. Because no, as during winter, right, we are sitting around bonfire, everyone applies own logic, and this freedom and autonomy ought to be given in the same manner. Right, we should try to understand the strength of every child. If we have the structure, so we are simply making them clerk, we need to make them leader. If we want to make them leader, we have to accord autonomy, right? If autonomy, because child mindset is sorry, teacher mindset is one, and you know, mindset could be changed, right, by students, right? And we could have diverse learning, and the children can teach lot many things to us. So thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Naid. Dr. Naid, for sharing. Thank you. Is there any other question?
Ma'am, are you satisfied with the answer?
Hello. Dr. Rania, were you saying something?
Okay. Are you talking to me? Yes. I think you're very eager today, Dr. Nahid. Very interactive.
Okay.
No, Gloria ma'am, due to Gloria ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Miss Anani sets the tone also for interaction.
Oh, honestly. Her energy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you everyone once again. As we depart, let us carry forward the insights gained here today with renewed resolve to make education more inclusive, purposeful, and impactful, anchored in real-world relevance and driven by the needs of our diverse global communities. Thank you once again, and may we continue to connect, collaborate, and contribute meaningfully in the future for the future of education. Thank you very much, and see you on Friday as we come back for another amazing discussion. Thank you. So it's time for our photo shoots. Can we all turn on our camera so that we can take? Okay. Today we're going to. Okay, I think let's just use the hearts, right? Let's use the heart emoji as usual. So after the count of 5, let's click on it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah, so we're able to capture
Thank you
many.
too.
Thank you, everyone, and see you on
Thank you.
Friday. All right, bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Bye. Good night. Good night, all of you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.